All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of our Madden 25 Connected Franchise Owner Mode Fantasy Draft Buffalo Bills Ralph Wilson YouTube series. It's a series with the world's longest name, and it is the series with the world's most game. All right, guys, welcome back. Episode number 58. Happy Wednesday. We are coming off our preseason victory over the Seattle Seahawks. 38-31 was the score. Let's get right into it. We're starting off today by progressing our players. As we always do, we are breaking our roster into 6 sections. Our first practice upkeep progression was quarterbacks and backfield folk. Our last episode was dedicated to our receiver folk. And now it is going to be our offensive line folk. Bruce Campbell's up first. Bruce Campbell did not really develop for us last year. Bruce Campbell, now 26 years old, played last year at 75 overall, is still 75 this year. We're going to spend a whole whack of points. Fortunately, he has a whole whack of points. He's got 33,000 of them. Getting his awareness up to at least the mid-60s. After that, it's going to be all about the blocking upgrades, impact blocking, pass blocking, run blocking. He's got a lot of work to do, but he's got a lot of points to spend. So we'll spend the first few thousand of them getting his awareness. Let's get it up to about a 70. Bruce Campbell's yet to actually get into a game for us. Hopefully he won't, because that would mean Michael Roos got hurt. But he's been playing in the preseason so far as a very unaware human being. So we're going to get his awareness way up to the 70s. Boom, baby. Now on to the pass blocking and run blocking. Being the left tackle, his pass blocking needs to vastly improve. We'll get that up to an 85, just like that. Bada bing, bada boom. His run blocking, meanwhile, we can get that up to an 85 as well. And his impact blocking, sitting at a 73. We'll get that up to about an 80 if we can. I don't know if we'll be able to. We'll give it a shot, though. We might have the points for it, might not. 4 more to go. I don't think we're going to have the points. But we can get it to a 79 anyways. And after that, we can come back and upgrade that another time. Yeah, not able to, about 100 points short. But look at that. Awareness way up. And let's even spend some more points. Why not? Let's spend them all. Get them all out of there. So awareness goes up almost 20 points to 73 overall. We've had a lot of time to work on Mr. Campbell. And now, just from that, he has gone up to 84 overall. Jesus. Wow, some awareness, some blocking ability, and that's huge because Michael Roos at the age of 32 has regressed. He was drafted at 95 overall, now sitting at 91 overall. Got some work to do. We don't have enough points for a run block upgrade. His pass blocking is second to none, which is why his pass blocking is way the hell up there. But there are some things we can do. Impact blocking, I think, is where we're basically going to go with this one. Roos out of Eastern Washington, drafted, I think, with our 3rd pick of the fantasy draft last season. So we get his impact blocking up there. Drafted as the franchise left tackle. Hopefully he can be there for a few more years, but if his play doesn't step up, who knows? Bruce Campbell might be the next guy in line ready to take over. Now we're on to our left guards. Danny Watkins, 36,000 points to spend. Watkins progressed a little bit. Started off last season at 73, now at 75. Watkins was drafted with the 23rd pick of the 2011 draft by the Philadelphia Eagles. Was cut this year in training camp. Never developed into a starter, which is a drag. Danny Watkins was also selected at the ripe age of 27. A very an older player in the NFL draft, much like a Brandon Weeden, who was selected at the age of 29. Not sure why. Both players are busts, to say the least. Watkins comes here. He's now 29 years of age, just 1 year younger than Ben Grubbs. Could potentially be somebody we try and use as some trade bait if he does end up developing into something. Here, we're just pumping his awareness. We get it all the way up to 75, which is a nice place. Pass blocking and run blocking. His run blocking is already quite good, up to 86. His pass blocking, let's get that up to an 86 level, and then work on his impact blocking. At age 29, especially for an interior offensive lineman, still probably has some trade value, not like a wide receiver where at age 29 you're already kind of starting to hit the tail end of your career. You're just kind of starting to come into your prime as an offensive lineman in your late 20s. Given the fact that he's not going to overtake Grubbs at the left guard spot, and Grubbs and him being almost the same age, it doesn't make sense for him to be the incumbent at the left guard spot the same way that, say, maybe Campbell is the incumbent there. Danny Watkins, just like that, up to 82 overall, spending that big glove of points we started saving up last season and had going into this season. Obviously, didn't have all those points all the way through the year. But Ben Grubbs' run blocking abilities at 89. We need another 400 points to grow that, and I think it's worth it to hold on to the points we have now and save up. His stamina's already in a good spot, 85. Impact blocking, awareness, all in a good spot. I don't see a reason to spend these points when we just need 400 more to get his run blocking up to 90. His pass blocking for a guard already very good, up to 92, but we'll save those points for Grubbs. So we'll come back for him next episode on Friday, which will be our next our next upgrade episode. Roberto Garza, the backup center of the ripe old age of 35 years. Not much to really work on with Mr. Garza at his age. I think we're just going to work on his run blocking. This will likely be Garza's last year with the team. Of all the positions we have to look at, potentially upgrading through the draft, maybe developing somebody at center is one of them that we're going to, I think, need to look at. Eric Wood, the starter, is our weakest link along the offensive line. He's not old. He's just 28 years old, which, again, for an interior offensive lineman's pretty young. But there are holes in his game. As you can see, his pass blocking is a little bit low. We're obviously going to work to fix that. We get it up to an 85, just like that, bada bing, bada boom. But might be a position where we look at drafting maybe a future. We spend a 4th-round pick, 3rd-round pick, that kind of thing on a center. And we bring somebody along behind Eric Wood off to the right guard position. Brandon Mosley's developed nice for us. Mosley came in last year, 71 overall. Now at the age of 25, sitting at 77 overall. We got 19,000 points to play with. We'll start with his awareness, just like we did with a bunch of our other backups, Bruce Campbell, Danny Watkins, etc. We'll get this up to about a 75 level, and then it's all going to be about the blocking. To me, Ben Mosley, with him being a big mauler, to me, he's kind of the guy with the physical tools without the actual technique. As you can see, his physical traits all way up there. His strength is going to be way up there. His stamina, 93, is very good. Strength, 93. Acceleration, 79, which for an offensive lineman is pretty stellar. What he struggles with is just the technical aspect of it. His impact blocking, just 75. We'll have to get that up to about an 80, and then we'll work on his pass blocking and his run blocking. The thing here is Luis Vasquez is developing at a stellar pace in front of Mosley. If he wasn't, I would call Mosley the future of the right guard position for us. Mosley, just 25, again, with all the physical tools, just needs to keep those points coming in to work on those technical aspects of his game. As you can see, up to 82 with that. So he's developing very fast. But Luis Vasquez, only 27 years of age. It'll be interesting to see what happens down the stretch with these guys because Vasquez is so good, but Mosley's getting on his heels. And we don't want to lose a guy like Mosley. We managed to keep Johnny Culbreath as the guy behind Marcus Gilbert, the starting right tackle. But you never know. You don't want to lose a guy like Mosley. Mosley did re-up with us this year. He signed a contract. But look at that. Luis Vasquez, stellar pass blocking, solid run blocking. Hard to find a way almost to get a guy like Brandon Mosley into the game when he's got guys in front of him who are so solid. Right tackle now, we'll start off with Johnny Culbreath, who's got a whack of points. Culbreath re-signed with us this past offseason. He's making starter money. I think his cap hit's about $2.8, maybe $3.2 million. Not a huge amount of money by NFL standards, but certainly not a pittance either. He's another guy with all the physical tools who just needs the techniques down. We're working on his awareness right now. We'll get that up to about an 85 level. And Johnny Colbreath, more and more, it's looking like he could be the potential incumbent to Michael Roos. If Michael Roos is done in a year or two from now, Johnny Colbreath could potentially flip over and play the left tackle spot behind him. Obviously, Bruce Campbell might have something to say about that, but Johnny Colbreath has developed so well. He started off as a 69 overall player before last year. Now at the age of 26, originally drafted in the 7th round by the real-life Detroit Lions in 2011. Coming along, and he's got a whack of points here. We'll see what his overall looks like after this. His pass blocking, his run blocking, we should be able to get those up to 85 easily with some points to spare. We'll get his consistencies at 0. Obviously, that needs to be fixed. We'll get that up to 1. In the future, we can work on that. But his strength is only 80. That's not great, but his injury is great. His acceleration is phenomenal for an offensive lineman. And he is a clutch player, which is wonderful to see. His awareness, again, getting better by the day. His stamina needs to get better, though. That's something that we should work on as well. If we can get that up to maybe the high 70s right now, get that up to maybe a 76. Yeah, that's the best we can get there. His toughness, meanwhile, at a 71. So that'll also need work. So some other areas that need work. But Colbreath is blocking, getting into the mid-high 80s, which is wonderful. We'll see what his overall is now. Sure enough, boom, 84 just from that. All those points he had saved up give us a huge upgrade there at that spot. Meanwhile, Marcus Gilbert, the starting right tackle, is going to have about 15,000 points here to play with. We'll go off with his toughness is, wow, surprisingly low. Why are these offensive linemen not tough? You'd think they were tough. I mean, you're near the size of a bus. You should be a tough dude. Anyways, we'll get his awareness up into the 80s. His consistency trait is really poor. That's kind of surprising. Stamina is very good. Pass blocking, run blocking, we've worked on that a lot. Already at the 90 level for both of them. His consistency trait, I think we get his consistency up to the 2 level. That gets him halfway there. The next time he has 10,000 points, we'll get that up to the 4 level. Aside from that, we'll have to keep working back, coming back for him for his toughness and his awareness a little bit. But until then, we're good to go. And now last up is going to be Al Netter. Al Netter is brand new to this team this year. He was brought in when it looked like maybe Colbreath wasn't going to be able to come back. We weren't going to be able to re-sign him. And Netter comes in as a guy who went undrafted, 24 years old, was signed and is a part of the real-life San Francisco 49ers. But he's a raw player, pass block. You see that a tackle with a pass blocking rating in the high 70s is not going to be useful in any way, shape, or form. So we'll bump that up, get him to a 79. That's all we can do. Awareness is sitting at 81. That's not bad. We'll get it up to an 82 may as well. Al Netter, definitely a project player. Not getting any time, I don't think, in the preseason either, because of Gilbert and Colbreath sitting on top of him. But look at that. Colbreath, hell of a backup at 84. Right guard Mosley, hell of a backup at 82. Garza needs to be replaced. We've talked about it already, but Danny Watkins, 82, hell of a backup. Bruce Campbell, 84, hell of a backup. A lot of these guys had a lot of points saved up, which is exciting. Next episode, we get to spread some points along our defensive line. Some of these guys with big points saved up, including Vince Wilfork, 25,000. So wonderful stuff to see. The other thing we're going to do really quickly is we're going to break some of our pattern here because of a couple of guys who are younger, who have a couple little areas they need some severe upgrade on, especially we're going to start off with Gino Castro in the catching department, as has been well documented on this channel. We need to get Castro going because of the injury to Jacoby Ford, and now the injury to Deshaun Jackson. Deshaun Jackson's going to miss the first the first game of the regular season. So all of a sudden, Gino Castro, the pressure is on to play, and he's going to actually be a big part, I think, of the offense that first game for sure. So his catching ability since the beginning of the draft really has increased from 68 to 79. Pretty impressive stuff. The next place we're going, Mr. Eric Baldwin, our first pick of the 2014 NFL Draft. We're going to his catching ability. We're going to bump that up to an 84. and his catching and traffic ability, we're going to get that up to an 81. So after that, I think with his catching now being in the mid 80s, we're going to save up for some development for him. His development cost is going to be, I think, 23,500 points. There you go, 23,250. Get that up to quick. So we'll start saving for him now. Castro, we want to start saving as well, but we need to get his catching out of the dumpster before we do that. So anyways, that was player progression. A little bit of extra bonus features there today, but wonderful stuff. So good to see our offensive line progressing so well. Tyler Bray is on the trade block. No thank you. We do not need a 61 overall quarterback. If we wanted a new developmental quarterback, we would find one a lot better than Tyler Bray. Let's put it that way. So on to next week. We got some practice coming up right away, and then we'll find out who our opponent is for week 4 of the preseason. We are, of course, coming off the win against Seattle. Before that, we dropped a game against Jacksonville. Before that, steamrolled the Dallas Cowboys. Who knows? Maybe we'll have another NFC competitor. Preseason's kind of nice because sometimes you get to play teams that you don't normally see. In our case, Dallas, Seattle, brand new teams to us. Nice to see what those teams have going on. Trade block, Blaine Gabbert. Do we want Blaine Gabbert? Don't think so. And it's cut day. So cut day, last day before the preseason to cut players down. We need to cut 3 guys. I think we know where we're going with these cuts. We need to first guy we're going to be letting go is wide receiver Bennett Eric, 62 overall, selected with the last pick of the 6th round this year. Has some really nice tools, but his speed at 66 is simply unusable, and for that reason, Bennett Eric's going to get cut. It'll free up $300,000 in cap room, but we incur a penalty of $120. That's fine by us. So Bennett Eric, is the first player cut. He gone from this team. Kind of sucks because we needed, with the injuries to Jacoby Ford and Deshaun Jackson, some depth here. We're going to have to go into the first game of the year with Baldwin and Manningham in the normal spots, Castro playing in the slot, and then probably Darren Sproles filling in that other role. 2 more players need to go. We have an extra player at the right tackle spot, obviously, Al Netter. We might have to actually cut him. Wouldn't like to do it. Defensive tackle spot, we brought back, because there's obviously Rob Ninkovich is starting the defensive tackle spot. So we got 5 players on the roster here at the defensive tackle spot. We brought back Oakham and Kitchen. It might be that we have to cut one of those 2 guys. I don't know. I don't like the idea of cutting either of our defensive tackles. I like the depth there. I'd like to hold on to Linton as well. I'm thinking maybe the best thing to do at the corner spot would be to get rid of Chris Johnson. Johnson has not played well in the preseason, and he's fallen off so much. I don't think he can play the role he played last year. Brian McCann, as much as McCann has struggled in the preseason, I think Johnson is just the better. I think McCann needs to be the guy of the future. It's amazing how little Johnson's speed has fallen off. At the age of 35, his speed is still sitting at 95, but I think it's time Jason Romano gets a bit of a look. We'll make sure Romano gets a lot of playing time this upcoming preseason game. Obviously, he struggles with coverage, has some things he needs to fix, but he's got a lot of the physical tools. He's got a hell of a tackling ability, and his speed rating, we're thinking of maybe playing him more at the linebacker spot with his strength and his power, that type of thing. But I think Chris Johnson, being as old as he is, as far down the depth chart as he is, might need to go. Aside from that, there's not a lot of places on this team where we have a bunch of extra players. Austin Lane, I'd like to hold on to. He's played really well in the preseason, backing up Thaddeus Gibson. But defensive tackle spot is a place where we might have to go. Al Netter, I think we got to let Al Netter go. We just upgraded him. But Al Netter, he's making $1 million too. Yeah, Al Netter's got to go. We brought in Al Netter. Sorry, Al Netter. We brought in Al as a player to fill in case Culbreath decided to walk in free agency. But with Culbreath coming back, Al Netter's got to go. And after that, I'd like to hold on to the depth we have at both spots, to be perfectly honest. All of our other rookies I think I like the future Romano has potentially at a new position. I like the future Camille Linton might have. Him being just 21 has a high ceiling, I think. Obviously, we can't get rid of Hooker, Castro, or Baldwin. Aside from that, there aren't many positions where we have extra players. The only other player I could potentially think of cutting is this guy right here, Heath Miller. Potentially somebody we need to look at cutting. And, as we've talked about last episode, Eric Baldwin's grabbed the starting spot, I think, hands down. Jeff Cumberland, meanwhile, has played phenomenally in that extra spot. If you look at the speed of these guys, obviously the guy fallen far down the depth chart in terms of speed is Heath Miller. Catching ability, every one of our tight ends has decent hands. Baldwin, Cumberland, Paul can all catch. Route running ability, yeah, Heath Miller takes it. But aside from that, it's hard to justify keeping Heath Miller again. The other area, very important area, is the blocking department. And blocking in terms of the backside, Jeff Cumberland's a better blocker. Heath Miller a little bit better with the run blocking, but Jeff Cumberland a far superior pass blocker. And he would be the guy pass blocking on the backside of a lot of these plays. So here's what I think. Heath Miller, it would be a shame to release him outright. Maybe we look at trading him. Let's see if we can do that. I've checked before. Heath Miller does not have a lot of trade value. But even if we can try and get even just a late pick for him, that would mean that we can keep Linton, we can keep Kitchen, we can keep Johnson, to keep Romano out of the game because Romano really not ready to get into the game. I do want to get him some time in the preseason, but not ready to go full-time. So let's put Heath Miller up there, and let's see what a team might be willing to give us. Actually, what we should be doing is we should remove this from a trade. We should go to the trade block, put Heath Miller on there, and see what we might be able to get. We'll go Bills here. Oh, that's not what we want to do. Tight end. Oh, these players are being shopped by other teams. Well, I don't want other teams' players. I want to place one of my guys onto the trade block. I guess we can't do that. That's a drag. Okay, well, let's go ahead and go manual trade again, I suppose. We got Heath Miller on there. Let's see. Let's go ahead to the Bears just because they're the first squad to come up. Who would the Bears be willing to give, or what would the Bears be willing to give us in terms of a pick for Heath Miller? Would they be willing to give us a third-round pick? They don't want Heath Miller. Nobody's going to want Heath Miller. No, they're not interested in Heath Miller. What happens if we were to ask the Bengals for a third-round pick? Third-round pick from the Bengals for Heath Miller. They have some interest, medium interest. The offer was accepted. So Heath Miller goes to the Bengals for a third-round pick. Decent value, I think. It helps us get up in the draft, and it sucks to move Heath Miller on. Heath Miller had a better season than we, I think, expected last year, but just not somebody who is going to pull his own weight this season. We need to keep Cumberland in that spot, and so at the age of 31, Heath Miller, no longer a part of the Buffalo Bills organization. He wins a Super Bowl with us in his first year with us, and he gets traded to Cincinnati in exchange for a third-round pick. I think it's been well proven that Eric Baldwin can hold his own at the starting spot. Jeff Cumberland playing very well for us at the second spot, developed nicely, still just 27 years old, and Niles Paul ready to step up whenever. So that's that. Now, it's interesting. It's telling me that we need to cut another player. Now, we've gotten rid of 3 players. I don't understand how we need to cut somebody else. 54 out of 53 players. We don't have 54 players anymore. We cut. We didn't cut, but we traded away Heath Miller. The whole point of that was to be able to keep everybody else. By the way, on the owner page, you can see how well we're doing. Concessions, merchandise, tickets, stadium popularity, team success. Woo! Killing it. Go back to cut day. Let's see. Do we have to cut somebody else? Really? I don't want to cut anybody else. How do we have 54 players still? We had 56. We cut 2. We traded 1. 56 minus 3 is 53. I'm not that good at math, but I know that. I know that. I'm trying to think, where do we have extra backups? I don't want to cut any of our defensive tackles. I don't want to cut Austin Lane. And I don't want to cut Chris Johnson. But we have to cut one of those 3 guys if they're going to try and insist that we need to make another cut. Well, if we have to cut somebody, Chris Johnson. 35 years old. It's probably 34 years old. It's probably his last year in the league. He's fallen off a lot since last season. Came to us as the 4th cornerback in to the game. Started, it was 77 last year, 74 this year. He's going to have to go. And so we part ways, unfortunately, with a few people, unfortunately, on our team. We get rid of Chris Johnson, age 34, cut. We do away with our kind of failed draft pick, Bennett Eric at the wide receiver spot. We cut Al Netter, who came to us as a free agent this season, fails to make the team with Johnny Culbreath coming back. And then Heath Miller, who has played terribly for us in the preseason so far. And we have 52. So this is 52 out of 53. What's going on? It's okay. If Chris Johnson wants to come back, he'll be in the free agent pool. If we want to bring Chris Johnson back, we probably can. We can even look at doing that right away if we want. So potentially Chris Johnson. Actually, let's take a look at free agents. We should be able to bring somebody in. 52 out of 53 players. Maybe it's just a glitch in the game, but on the upside, Chris Johnson was selected probably higher in the given a contract due to his selection in the fantasy draft than he was really worth. So let's see. Maybe we can pick him up in free agency for less. Oops, I went to the completely wrong spot to find the free agents. All I'm saying is maybe we found we would be able to pick him up now for less money than we were paying him anyways. Free agents, who knows? Maybe other teams had some nice free agents they had to cut as well. And sure enough, a few guys 82 overall available right now. Ben Jones, just 25 years old at the right guard spot, 80 overall. Not a bad deal. Somebody's got to sign him. Some talented players. Devin Taylor, 24 years old, 77 overall at the right end spot. Lots of defensive ends listed here. Let's go to the cornerback spot. If we're going to pick up anybody, there's Chris Johnson, but Ron Bartell, 32 years old, 2 years younger, 76 overall. They're both looking for $910, which would be less money than they were originally making. Chris Johnson, a bit of a better cover person, and a lot better speed. Let's pick up Chris Johnson again. So Chris Johnson leaves, or he is cut on cut down day. He had a salary just over $1 million. He'll sign again for $910. So he's back. Chris Johnson makes a triumphant return to the roster. And it'll be as if he never left. We'll just pretend that he never left. Glitch in the game told me that we needed to make another cut. Fortunately, now that we are good. Heath Miller, though, does leave. By acquiring Heath Miller from the Bengals, it's clear the Bengals are not playing around. Chris Johnson, blah, 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 blah. Matthew Slater was cut today by the Broncos. Matthew Slater was with us last year, so he does not stick with his team. And yeah, we can see here another tweet about us, preseason or not. Deshaun Jackson scared the Bills with that injury today, but he should only be out a couple of weeks, which is nice. Top stories. Let's go my stories. Cleaning house. Chris Johnson. Chris Johnson's back. It's okay. Like there was any doubt. This is already going back to next week. So we lose 3 players. Heath Miller, we trade away a guy who, in all honesty, it was more important. Oops. No, that's not what we want to do. Heath Miller, we trade him. We get a 3rd round pick back, which for somebody making as much money as he was, I think he was making $4 million. And for somebody whose production I think was going to be as low as his, we get good value, I think. And actually, before practice, one of the things I want to do is quickly go to the sliders. As I talked about yesterday on Tuesday, we can take a look at editing some of these sliders. Basically, what the sliders do is, I guess, they fine-tune what it is you're looking at in terms of gameplay for you and your opponent. So far, I haven't really been that disappointed with the all Madden settings. There's a few times where I feel like, the opponent, their run blocking is a little bit too strong. So I'm going to, tackling, I think is where we want to go. The opponent's just impossible to bring down. So I'm going to bump our tackling up by 5. So it's 30. The opponent tackling is still 50. So they still have a huge advantage there. But that gives us a bit of an advantage. Run blocking, I'm going to take them down 5 as well. Just because they are so difficult to stop on all Madden when it comes to the run. We're not going to touch our run blocking. Our run blocking is still sitting at 25. Theirs is as well. We're going to bring down their pass blocking just a few. Our defensive line having a really hard time getting any pressure. Again, our pass blocking sitting at just 25. Their pass blocking at 45. So they still have a big advantage. We're just tweaking things a little bit. Pass defense recognition time might be something interesting to take a look at. Pass coverage 25. We'll leave that for now. The other thing I wanted to check was minimum player speed threshold. Now, the minimum player speed threshold, I talked about this a little bit in the last game. I think what this essentially does, and what I've done some research online, basically what it does is it keeps the players who are fast from being too fast and the players who are slow from being too slow. And so what I want to do is bring this way down. We'll bring it down to like 20. And see what that does to affect the game. Basically, what I'm hoping is that the players who are a little faster, guys like Deshaun Jackson, Castro, etc., can really use the speed to their advantage, and that works both ways. It's something it's neutral, right? Because it means that opponents who are faster will also get a chance to take advantage of that. And there's Heath Miller in his Cincinnati Bengals get-up. Personally, let me guys know what you guys think about getting the 3rd round pick. I think they had lukewarm interest in him. It was we got like the yellow out of the 3 things. As far as I see it, his speed went down this year to 75, which was already brutal. If we cut him outright, we'd take a cap penalty. So I just feel like, and we're gonna go hold the lead. By the way, start of the 4th quarter, you're leading by a field goal. Just win the game. Let's do it. Talk about practice. Getting back to Heath Miller, though, his speed last year was already not the best. We drafted somebody to fill in that role and do a better job, who has been doing that, and will only get better as the season goes on. So Miller, speed was only going to go down from here. His speed sitting at 75 now is going to be worse when he came back. And so financially, this move makes sense. In terms of on-the-field production, the move makes sense. I was hoping to keep Miller mostly for sentimental reasons, especially because we aren't close to the cap. We have some wiggle room, a few $1 million anyways to play with, but that's just not going to be possible. We need to get rid of him, and he gone. So we'll move on from that. Our starting defense comes out 2nd and 10 here for the Flippity Flops. They've got an interesting setup here. 2 wide receivers and Durant. Oh, and Durant misses the running back. The running back's off to the races. Sanford misses him. Thomas and Rogers Cromartie make the tackle. 32-yard gain for the running back. Just par for the course lately for this defense is we have an easy tackle set up right in front of us, and we just blow it. It's awful. Shotgun formation here for the Flippity Flops. They're down 24-21. And the quarterback shoves off a defender wide open in the end zone. Vontae Davis knocks it away from the tight end. I didn't see who that was. You guys can go back and check it out again. There was some great pressure there from the defensive line finally getting to the quarterback, and the quarterback just shoved off whoever it was who tried to come up and make the play. Unbelievable. Sanford back, a man releases, and the quarterback all day to throw again. Finally hit as he threw. I think that would have been Thaddeus Gibson getting the quarterback. There's a reason why we turned down the pass blocking sliders just by a little bit. Just a little bit. We can still play with the sliders as time goes on, just trying to make things as fair as possible. Interesting to see what happens with the speed threshold as well, bringing that way down. I think we'll see players who are a little faster get more of a benefit from that. And over the middle, Brian McCann gets beaten. Touchdown. Brian McCann really struggling. Brought him along last year as the fifth cornerback, playing behind Johnson on the depth chart. Now he's surpassed Johnson on the depth chart. Honestly, we might have to look at putting Johnson back there. McCann just does not seem to have the chops game in, game out to cover people properly. Really, since making the difficulty change, starting the new season, we've seen Vontae Davis almost never get thrown to. People are just avoiding him because he is so strong when it comes to man-to-man coverage. Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie gets picked on every once in a while, but he's got the speed and the ability to make interceptions, to make people pay. But people have been picking on McCann so much. It's been insane. And here, Basman Hooker's got the corner. He's got a great block upfield for Mario Manningham. He's up the sidelines, knocked out at the 40-yard line of the Flippity Flops 43-yard carry, getting around the end. What a gorgeous play for Hooker, getting around the left side. What a play. We're going to run it to the right side here. I don't know. Flippity Flop's showing blitz. We're going to go mesh. Baldwin attacking the deep side. The strong safety does come on the blitz. And wide open out of the backfield, John Kuhn. He gets up the sidelines, makes a man miss. 14-yard gain for Kuhn getting out of the backfield. 3:47 left in the practice scenario. We're down by 4 with the Flippity Flop scoring the touchdown on their last drive. But we have a nice drive going here. Hooker, gets a shot. Middle linebacker, nice contain on that play. That goes for a gain of just 1. We'll keep in the single back formation for this play. Inside cross. I love this play. Gets a couple different receivers. We have Baldwin going right to left. Hooker comes out of the backfield, goes left to right. And over the middle, yes, Doug Baldwin makes the catch. We bring him forwards back to the quarterback, which does a nice thing. Otherwise, he would have, I think, ran too dangerously close to the middle linebacker, which would have resulted in a fumble. Nice job by Aaron Rodgers finding him on that play, though. Here, Eric Baldwin's going to have to show off his run-blocking chops. A hell of a block there. Hooker and company make that play possible. 4-yard gain off the right side. I think it's looking more and more, though, as great as Hooker's been, that he is going to finish second in the race for the starting running back spot. You guys can let me know what you think. Meanwhile, by the way, Eric Baldwin, touchdown. Bills take the lead in the practice scenario, 31-28 over the Flippity Flops. That is, of course, as soon as Greg the Leg has kicked this ball up and through. There we go. Bills with the lead, 2:10 left in the practice scenario. Defense going to get another opportunity to shut down the attack of the Flippity Flops. Hopefully they can do a better job this time. But as I was saying, I'm personally thinking right now Ryan Williams has been playing well enough to have earned the starting role. I think Jonathan Franklin has played fine as well. I'm very impressed with him as a developmental back, somebody we can have set at the 4th spot on the depth chart. But I think the way they're slated in my mind right now is going to be Williams, then Hooker, then Franklin. Nothing to be ashamed about with that, with Hooker sitting on the bench for some of this season. He's still going to get a lot of chances to carry the ball, as Williams' stamina is quite low. Can't play that many plays in a row. Not as much of a workhorse as Ronnie Brown was. And so, with that being said, Hooker will still be getting into the games. But again, nothing is set in stone. We have to look at the results of the last preseason game. All I'm saying is the preseason game the start will be given to Ryan Williams, who has been the best running back we've had so far this season. And depending on now if Williams goes out and fumbles the ball 3 times and misses a block and plays terribly, then Hooker or Williams could Hooker or Franklin could still get the starting spot. But until then, I think Williams has won the right to at least start the preseason, the last preseason game. Here, Sanford, the wide receiver, makes the catch over the middle, touchdown, flippity flops. The flippity flops absolutely decimate us there on that drive through the air. The quarterback just stands back, picks us apart. 1:20 left in the practice scenario. Bills are going to have to come out and score a touchdown. The flippity flops score 2 touchdowns in a span of 3 minutes and 40 seconds. Almost exclusively through the air, just absolutely tearing apart this defense. They picked on Brian McCann. They picked on Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie. They picked on Jamarcus Sanford a little bit here. Gino Castro not able to get outside. Had a potentially long return set up there, not able to get her done, though. And so we're going to have to come out. We got no timeouts and 1:15 to try and put a drive together to win the game. Play action post is where we're going to start off. And oopsies, I selected the wrong play. So we're going to have to improvise here because we don't have a timeout. Verticals. Sure, let's go verticals. We got Baldwin and Baldwin. Interesting little plays. Moving from the inside to the outside. Castro over the middle. We'll see who comes free. Castro comes free over the middle. Castro makes the catch right between the two safeties. His catching ability improving so rapidly. What a great play for him. Here we're going to the corner, double corner routes. Baldwin and Castro in the slot playing those spots. Hopefully we can get out of bounds. Baldwin sits down, and he comes back to the ball, makes the catch, gets out of bounds. A perfect play. He steals an interception away from the DB. What a great play from him. The first practice after the release of the incumbent starting tight end, Heath Miller, or the trade, rather, of the incumbent starting tight end, Heath Miller, Eric Baldwin, showing what he can do. Across the field, Aaron Rodgers is going to be able to take off here. Back pressure, though. Gets out of bounds. Gain of 6. Not a bad play. Most importantly, Aaron Rodgers does not take a shot. 45 seconds left in the practice scenario now. Darren Sproles is into the game at the slot position. Of course, Deshaun Jackson and Jacoby Ford still injured right now. Sproles is going to get some reps at the slot receiver spot. And that's another reason. And there's Sproles with the catch. Tackled at his own at the 15-yard line of the flippity flops. Clock running. We got to get this next play off, and we will go 4 verticals. We'll try and hit somebody right away in stride, or just throw the ball away. And here we go. The play is started, and underneath, Basmanoga makes the catch, but he hits the deck. Tackled. Not much time left in the game. We got to get there to spike the ball. We can't get there. Bill Curls, we got to go. Hopefully 2 plays left in the game. Here's this play. 6 seconds left, going inside, and there's an interception. We throw it off. We throw the practice scenario away. No good. 3 seconds left. Flippity flops are gonna get the points here. And we can't put too much of that on the defense. Just bad play calling here. I was not able to get the hurry-up offense out there. Didn't have much of an option here. Gino Castro came wide open, but would not have been able to get in the end zone. Darren Sproles actually probably would have been the better option here, sitting right there at the goal line. Though if he's tackled at the goal line, this practice scenario is done because they don't give us unfortunately, they don't give us any freaking timeouts for these practice scenarios. And so with that being said, we got a sad thumbnail today. There we go. Number 22 of the flippity flops making the pick, and that'll end the practice scenario, folks. That's all. We'll quickly check. No, we can't do that here. Join us tomorrow on Thursday, where we will update the roster. Oh, pardon me. Quit practice. Well, yeah, we can quit practice now because the flippity flops won. So we don't come away with any points this time. Hopefully we will next. Well, we come away with 1,000 points. We don't come away with the extra 1,000 though. And so that's the end of practice. That's the end of the video. Join me tomorrow, guys, for further updates on the team that's coming together, the 2014 Bills. We make a couple painful releases today, cutting a couple backups, but then also having to trade Heath Miller, who did play a prominent role in our Super Bowl championship this past year. Sorry to see that. However, again, join us tomorrow where we take on the New Orleans Saints in New Orleans, in Louisiana, at the Superdome. Don't miss it. Mercedes-Benz Superdome. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention the newly sponsored name of the New Orleans Superdome. Other than that, guys, nothing else to say. I'm Tuxedo T-shirt. See you tomorrow, and I'm out.